The doors to the Galactic Council chamber slid open with a soft hiss. Minji stepped inside, her black uniform crisp and formal. Behind her walked 3 other humans, all dressed the same way. The chamber was massive, bigger than any stadium on Earth. Thousands of alien beings filled the seats that curved around the central platform. Some had scales, others had fur. Some floated in containment fields filled with strange gases. Some looked almost human, but their eyes were too large or their skin was the wrong color. Minji walked to the center platform. Her footsteps echoed in the sudden silence. Every alien eye turned to watch her. She could feel their stares. Some looked curious. Many looked amused. A few looked disgusted. The platform rose slowly, lifting her higher so everyone could see. Bright lights focused on her from all directions. A holographic display appeared in the air around her, ready to show whatever she needed. Ambassador Minji of Earth. A voice boomed through the chamber. It came from everywhere at once. You may present your petition. Minji touched her wrist device. Her file appeared on the holographic screens throughout the chamber. Thank you, Council Speaker. I am here to request advanced trade status for Earth and humanity. A ripple of laughter spread through the audience. It started small but grew louder. Minji stood still, her face calm. She had expected this. A large reptilian alien stood up in the front row. His scales were deep red and his eyes were yellow with vertical slits. Advanced trade status? He said, his voice dripping with mockery. For a species that barely survived its own planet? For primitives who still use chemical rockets? More laughter filled the chamber. Minji waited for it to die down. The esteemed delegate Vector raises interesting points, she said calmly. Perhaps he would like to review Earth's survival statistics before making his final judgment. Vector waved a clawed hand dismissively. We have reviewed your pitiful world, human. A backwater planet with unstable weather, violent geology, and excessive predator activity. Your species' mortality rate is embarrassingly high. You lose thousands to simple accidents every cycle. Thousands out of 8 billion, Minji replied. That is a 0.125% loss rate. A bird-like creature with iridescent feathers chirped from another section. Your planet cannot even maintain consistent climate. We have records of your natural disasters, hurricanes, earthquakes, tsunamis. How can we trust trade partners who cannot control their own environment? Minji nodded slowly. Delegate Jeered makes a fair observation. Perhaps the Council would benefit from reviewing Earth's official planetary classification before we continue. The chamber grew quieter. Some aliens leaned forward with interest. Others still wore expressions of amusement. The classification is already in our records, Vector said with a snort. A Class 7 developing world with primitive technology and unstable. May I? Minji interrupted gently, gesturing to the holographic controls. The Council speaker's voice returned. You may present relevant documentation. Minji's fingers moved across her wrist device. The air around her shimmered. The holographic displays throughout the chamber flickered and changed. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the screens turned red, not a soft red, not pink or orange. Deep blood red, the color of warning sirens and emergency alerts. The color that meant danger in almost every species' visual language. Large white letters appeared, stark against the red background. Planetary classification, Deathworld danger level, Class 12. The laughter died instantly. The chamber fell silent. Even Vector's mouth hung open, showing rows of sharp teeth. Minji let the silence stretch. She watched as the aliens read and reread the screen. Some were checking their own devices, frantically searching databases. Others sat frozen in shock. That must be an error, Vector finally said, but his voice had lost its confidence. There are only 3 confirmed Class 12 Deathworlds in all of known space. 4, Minji corrected quietly. As of Earth's admission to the Galactic database 7 months ago. The holographic display expanded. Earth appeared, slowly rotating in the center of the chamber. It looked beautiful from space, blue oceans, white clouds, green and brown continents. But around it, data streams began to appear. Numbers and charts and graphs all outlined in that same warning red. Class 12 designation requires 6 criteria, Minji said, her voice clear and steady. Extreme atmospheric volatility, excessive geological instability, predator density exceeding safe parameters, environmental toxin levels dangerous to most known species, extreme temperature fluctuations, and regular extinction level events. She paused, then added, Earth meets all 6 criteria. and exceeds them. An insectoid alien in the back, its body covered in a glossy black shell, raised a trembling limb. The evaluation must be wrong. If Earth is truly Class 12, how does your species survive? Class 12 worlds are studied only by remote probe. They are never colonized, never visited. They are death traps. Minji's expression didn't change. Delegate Klicktar asks an excellent question. How do we survive? She touched her controls again. Perhaps that is what makes us valuable trade partners. New data began filling the screens. Statistics about human population growth, records of cities built and rebuilt after disasters, images of humans living in every environment Earth had to offer. Frozen Arctic regions, scorching deserts, dense jungles, high mountains where the air was thin. We survive, Minji said simply. Because we were born there. Earth is not our challenge. Earth is our home. Vector stood again, his scales shifting from red to a paler orange. Even if this classification is accurate, and I have my doubts, it does not qualify your species for advanced trade status. Survival is not the same as sophistication. It does not demonstrate the technological advancement, the cultural development, or the diplomatic maturity we require. Agreed, Minji said. She looked directly at him. Survival alone is not enough, which is why we are not asking you to accept us because we survived Earth. We are asking you to consider what we had to become in order to survive it. She spread her arms wide. The holographic display expanded, filling the entire chamber with data. My colleagues will now present Earth's environmental parameters. Then we will discuss why humanity requests advanced trade status, not as primitives seeking help, but as equals who have something unique to offer. The chamber remained silent. The red glow of the Deathworld classification lit every face, every scale, every feather. Where there had been laughter and mockery, now there was uncertainty. And fear. Minji stepped back, giving a small bow. If the council will permit, my colleague Junho will begin with Earth's atmospheric composition. A tall human man stepped forward. He looked calm, but there was a small smile on his face. The presentation was about to get much more interesting. Junho walked to the center of the platform. He carried himself with the easy confidence of someone who had given many presentations. His dark hair was cut short, and his eyes were calm as he looked out at the thousands of alien faces watching him. Thank you, Ambassador Minji, he said. His voice was clear and professional. I am Environmental Specialist Junho. I will explain why Earth received its Deathworld classification, starting with the air we breathe. He touched his wrist device. The holographic display changed. A simple diagram appeared showing Earth's atmosphere in layers. Different colors represented different gases. This is Earth's atmospheric composition, Junho said. Nitrogen makes up 78%. Various other gases account for 1%. And oxygen, he paused. Oxygen makes up 21%. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a gasp rippled through the chamber. It started with the delegates in the front rows and spread backward like a wave. A creature that looked like it was made of living water, contained in a clear suit, stood up abruptly. 21%? Its voice bubbled and gurgled. That cannot be correct. At those concentrations, oxygen becomes highly reactive, toxic even. For most species, yes, Junho agreed. The galactic standard for breathable atmosphere sets oxygen concentration between 8 and 15%. Anything above 15% is considered dangerous. He pulled up another chart. This one showed the atmospheric requirements for different alien species. Every single one listed oxygen levels below 15%. Most were between 9 and 12%. Earth's oxygen concentration is 40% higher than the maximum safe level for most known species, Junho continued. At 21%, oxygen supports extremely rapid combustion. Fire burns hotter and spreads faster. Materials that would be fire-resistant on other worlds become flammable on Earth. A delegate from the middle section, covered in soft gray fur, raised a paw. Then how do you survive? Surely even a small spark would cause devastating fires. Junho nodded. It does. Earth experiences millions of wildfires every year. Some are started by lightning, some by volcanic activity, some by simple friction. He brought up a video. The aliens watched as forests burned. Walls of flame hundreds of feet high consumed entire valleys. The fire moved fast, faster than most creatures could run. It jumped from tree to tree, creating its own wind, making its own weather. This is normal on Earth, Junho said calmly. We have fire seasons. Entire regions expect to burn every few years. We have adapted. Our plants have adapted. Some seeds will not grow until they have been through fire. The heat cracks them open. Clicktar, the insectoid delegate, clicked its mandibles nervously. And your structures? Your cities? We build with fire in mind, Junho replied. We use materials that resist burning. We create barriers to stop fire from spreading. We train emergency teams to fight fires. Every building on Earth has fire suppression systems. He smiled slightly. We live with fire the way some species live with rain. The display changed again. Now it showed Earth's weather patterns. Massive spiral storms spun over the oceans. Lightning flashed inside towering clouds. But fire is not our only atmospheric concern, Junho said. Earth's oxygen-rich atmosphere also supports extremely violent weather systems. Our storms generate more energy than some species use in their entire industrial output. He zoomed in on one particular storm. This is what we call a hurricane, or a typhoon depending on where it forms. Wind speeds in this storm reached 300 kilometers per hour. The storm was 1,000 kilometers wide. It lasted for 2 weeks. The chamber was completely silent. Every alien was staring at the screen. The storm generated lightning strikes at a rate of 100 bolts per second, Junho continued. Each strike carried enough electrical energy to power a small city. The electromagnetic pulses from the lightning would disable most spacecraft within range. Vector, who had been quiet since the Deathworld classification appeared, finally spoke. Your weather generates electromagnetic pulses strong enough to damage spacecraft. Regularly, Junho confirmed. We had to develop special shielding for all our aircraft. Our satellites are hardened against lightning strikes from below and solar radiation from above. He pulled up more data. Earth experiences approximately 16 million thunderstorms per year. That is about 44,000 per day. At any given moment, roughly 2,000 thunderstorms are active somewhere on the planet. A delegate who looked like a floating crystal, glowing with internal light, pulsed brighter. 2,000 storms? Constantly? Constantly, Junho repeated. And that is just thunderstorms. We also have tornadoes, spinning columns of air that can reach wind speeds of 500 kilometers per hour. They appear with little warning. They can destroy entire towns in minutes. The holographic display showed a tornado. The aliens watched as the dark funnel touched down and tore through buildings like they were made of paper. Vehicles were tossed into the air. Trees were ripped from the ground, roots and all. Earth produces approximately 1,000 tornadoes every year, Junho said. Most are relatively small. But the large ones can create paths of destruction 50 kilometers long and 3 kilometers wide. He changed the display again. This time it showed snow, mountains of it, blown by howling winds into drifts that buried entire buildings. Our atmosphere also produces extreme temperature variations, Junho explained. Earth's coldest recorded temperature is minus 89 degrees Celsius. The hottest is 56 degrees Celsius. That is a range of 145 degrees. The gray-furred delegate made a choking sound. 145 degrees? Our homeworld varies by perhaps 20 degrees between seasons. Temperature variation on most civilized worlds ranges from 10 to 30 degrees. Junho agreed. Earth's variation is extreme by any standard. Humans have learned to survive in both extremes. We have cities in Arctic regions where temperatures regularly drop to minus 40 degrees. We have cities in desert regions where summer temperatures exceed 50 degrees. The water-being delegate bubbled anxiously. How do biological beings survive such extremes? Clothing, Junho said simply. Shelter, technology, and adaptation. Humans who live in cold regions have slightly different physiology than those who live in hot regions. Our bodies adjust over generations. He pulled up another video. This one showed Earth's oceans during a storm. Waves as tall as buildings crashed against rocky cliffs. The water was gray and violent, filled with foam and fury. Earth's oceans cover 70% of the planet's surface, Junho said. They interact with the atmosphere to create weather patterns that can circle the globe. A storm in one ocean can affect weather on the opposite side of the planet days later. The display showed a cross-section of an ocean, going deep beneath the waves. Our oceans are on average 4 kilometers deep. The deepest point is nearly 11 kilometers below the surface. The pressure there would crush most spacecraft hulls. He let that information sink in before continuing. And yet life exists even there. In complete darkness under crushing pressure, creatures have adapted and survived. Vector stood slowly. His orange scales had gone pale, almost yellow. Environmental specialist Junho, I must ask. You present these conditions as if they are normal, as if they are simply facts of your existence. Do you not understand how extreme these conditions are? How dangerous? Junho looked at him directly. Delegate Vector, I understand perfectly. I have studied the atmospheric conditions of 400 colonized worlds. I know that Earth is an outlier. I know that by galactic standards my homeworld should be uninhabitable. He gestured to the holographic Earth, still rotating slowly in the center of the chamber. But it is not uninhabitable. 8 billion humans live there. We have cities on every continent. We farm, we build, we create art and music and literature. We raise children who play outside during thunderstorms because we have learned to understand when lightning is truly dangerous and when it is merely impressive. Junho's voice remained calm, but there was something in his eyes now. Pride, perhaps, or defiance. You ask if we understand how dangerous our world is, he said quietly. We do. We live that danger every single day, and we do not merely survive it. We thrive in it, he stepped back. My colleague Hierim will now present information about Earth's biological hazards. Because our atmosphere is only the beginning. The chamber remained silent as another human stepped forward. She was small and slight, but she moved with quiet confidence, and she was smiling. Hierim stood in the center of the platform and looked out at the council. She was shorter than Junho and Minji, but something about the way she held herself made her seem larger. Her smile was small and knowing, like she understood a joke that no one else had heard yet. Good day, honored delegates, she said. Her voice was soft but clear. I am biological specialist Hierim. I study life. All kinds of life. And Earth has more kinds of life than most worlds you can imagine. She touched her wrist device. The holographic display changed. At first, it showed something beautiful. A vast ocean, blue and clean with sunlight sparkling on the waves. Below the surface, colorful fish swam in schools. It looked peaceful. Perfect. Then a massive shape rose from the deep. The aliens leaned forward. The shape was gray and white, over 6 meters long with a mouth full of triangular teeth. Each tooth was as long as a human hand. The creature moved through the water with terrible grace, circling, hunting. This is a great white shark, Hierim said, one of Earth's apex predators. It can smell a single drop of blood in an Olympic-sized swimming pool. It can detect electrical signals from prey animals hiding under sand. It can swim at speeds up to 40 kilometers per hour, and when it attacks, it hits with the force of a small vehicle. The hologram showed the shark attacking. Its jaws opened impossibly wide. The bite force numbers appeared on the screen. 18,000 newtons, over 1,800 kilograms of pressure. Chirik, the bird-like delegate, made a distressed chirping sound. And humans swim in the same waters as these creatures? Yes, Hierim said simply. Millions of humans swim in Earth's oceans every year. Shark attacks are rare. We have learned which waters are dangerous and which are safe. We have learned to read the signs of predator activity. She changed the image. Now it showed a massive reptile, its body covered in thick scales floating in murky water. Only its eyes and nostrils were visible above the surface. This is a saltwater crocodile, Hierim continued. It can grow over 6 meters long and weigh over 1,000 kilograms. Its bite force exceeds 16,000 newtons. It can hold its breath underwater for over an hour while waiting for prey. It is patient, intelligent, and has survived almost unchanged for millions of years because its design is perfect for killing. More images appeared. A polar bear, massive and white, powerful enough to kill with a single swipe of its paw. A Bengal tiger, striped and silent, able to drag prey twice its weight up into trees. A pack of wolves working together with coordinated intelligence to bring down animals much larger than themselves. Earth has apex predators in every environment, Hierim explained. In the water, on land, in the air. Some hunt alone, some hunt in groups. All of them are efficient killers with millions of years of evolution behind them. Kliktar's mandibles clicked rapidly. How do humans survive with so many predators? We are predators too, Hierim said quietly. Humans are apex predators. We evolved as hunters. Our eyes face forward for depth perception. Our bodies are built for endurance. Our brains are designed for tracking, planning, and problem solving. We survived on Earth because we learned to hunt everything that hunted us. She let that sink in before continuing. But large predators are not Earth's greatest biological danger. The display changed again. This time it showed something tiny, a microscopic image of a virus, its surface covered in spike proteins floating in body fluid. This is an influenza virus, Hierim said. It is 0.1 micrometers in size. You cannot see it. You cannot smell it. You cannot hear it. But it kills hundreds of thousands of humans every year. The chamber erupted in shocked murmurs. Hiram waited for quiet. Earth has billions of microorganisms, she continued. Bacteria, viruses, fungi, parasites. Many are harmless. Many are beneficial. But many are deadly. They evolve rapidly, changing to overcome our defenses. We have been fighting a war against microscopic life since before we were truly human. More images appeared. Bacteria that caused flesh to rot. Viruses that attacked the nervous system. Parasites that burrowed into organs. Some Earth diseases kill within hours, Hiram said. Some kill slowly over years. Some hide in the body, waiting for the immune system to weaken before attacking. Some alter behavior, making the host more likely to spread the disease. A fungal delegate in the back section, its body a network of interconnected mycelia visible through a transparent suit, suddenly went rigid. Its voice came through a translator, high and panicked. You have hostile fungi? On your world? Hiram nodded. Many types. Some infect plants, some infect animals. There is a fungus that infects ants, takes control of their nervous system, makes them climb to a high point, and then explodes from their heads to spread spores. She paused. We call it the zombie fungus. Sporath, the fungal delegate, made a sound like wind through dead leaves. Impossible. Fungi do not, we do not, that level of neural control is, on Earth it is common. Hiram interrupted gently, not just in fungi. We have parasitic wasps that lay eggs inside living spiders. When the eggs hatch, the larvae eat the spider from the inside out, saving the vital organs for last so the spider stays alive as long as possible. Several delegates made sounds of disgust. One rushed from the chamber. Hiram continued without emotion. We have parasites that enter through the feet and travel to the intestines. Parasites that live in the eyes. Parasites that live in the brain. Some cause blindness, some cause madness, some cause death. The water-being delegate burbled weakly. How? How does any complex life survive with such threats? Immune systems, Hiram said. She pulled up a diagram of the human immune system. It was incredibly complex with layers of defense, backup systems, and specialized cells that could adapt to new threats. The human immune system is constantly at war, she explained. Every second of every day it fights off invaders. It remembers diseases we had as children. It learns to recognize new threats. It can even attack and destroy our own cells if they become dangerous. She showed statistics. The average human immune system deals with thousands of potential infections every single day. Most we never notice. Our bodies fight and win before we even feel sick. Junho stepped forward again, standing beside Hiram. And this is why humans developed vaccination, he added. We deliberately expose ourselves to weakened diseases to train our immune systems. We give ourselves controlled infections to prevent worse infections later. Vectar's yellow eyes were wide. You deliberately infect yourselves? Yes, Hiram confirmed. We also consume poisons for pleasure. Silence fell over the chamber. What? Jirek's voice was barely a whisper. Hiram smiled, that small, knowing smile again. Humans consume many substances that are toxic to other species. Capsaicin, which causes pain receptors to activate, making the mouth feel like it is burning. We put it in our food because we enjoy the sensation. She pulled up images of various earth foods and drinks. Alcohol, which is literally a poison that damages the liver. Caffeine, which is a pesticide that plants produce to kill insects. Theobromine and chocolate, which is deadly to many earth species but harmless to humans. We also, she continued, expose ourselves to radiation for medical purposes. We use controlled amounts of venom to treat diseases. We have learned to make medicine from the very things that kill us. Kliktar's entire body was trembling. Your world is a nightmare. Our world is our home, Hiram corrected softly. Yes, it is dangerous. Yes, there are thousands of ways to die, but there are also billions of ways to live. She changed the display one last time. Now it showed Earth's biodiversity. Millions of species of plants, animals, fungi, and microorganisms. Forests and reefs and grasslands teeming with life in every form imaginable. Earth's danger created Earth's diversity, Hiram said. The same conditions that make our world deadly also make it incredibly alive. Species evolve and adapt and find ways to survive, including us. She looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of delegates who could bear to look back at her. You see a Deathworld, she said. We see a world that taught us to be strong, to be clever, to adapt and overcome. These are the skills we bring to the galactic community. Not just our technology or our trade goods, but our experience surviving the impossible. She stepped back, giving a small bow. My colleague Daiho will now explain how humans adapted to these conditions. How we became what we are. A fourth human stepped forward. He was older than the others, with gray in his hair and scars visible on his hands. He looked at the council with eyes that had seen many things, and he began to speak. Daiho walked to the center of the platform with slow, measured steps. Unlike the other human delegates, he did not stand perfectly straight. His shoulders were slightly bent, and there was a slight limp in his left leg. The scars on his hands were deep and old. One ran from his wrist to his knuckles. Another crossed his palm in a pale line. He did not smile. He simply looked at the council with calm, tired eyes. "I am Survival Specialist Daiho," he said. His voice was rough, like stone grinding against stone. "I teach people how to stay alive in dangerous places. I have spent 40 years studying how humans survive on Earth." He held up his scarred hands. "These scars are from ice climbing in the Arctic. This one," he pointed to the long scar on his right hand, "is from a rock slide in the mountains. This," he touched a mark near his thumb, "is from a venomous snake bite in the jungle." The delegates stared at him in silence. "I did not get these scars in war," Daiho continued. "I got them doing my job, teaching others. Living on Earth, they are normal for someone who works in extreme environments." He touched his wrist device. The holographic display changed. It showed a human running, not sprinting but maintaining a steady pace. Running for hours across a dry, hot landscape under a burning sun. "Humans are pursuit predators," Daiho explained. "We evolved to hunt by chasing prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. No other large predator on Earth can do this. A cheetah can run faster, but only for a minute. A horse can run farther, but needs to stop and rest. Humans can run for hours, days even if necessary." The image showed a human hunter tracking an antelope. The antelope ran, stopped, ran again. The human just kept coming, never stopping, never resting. After hours, the antelope's legs gave out. The human walked up to it calmly. "We can do this because of how our bodies manage heat," Daiho said. "Most mammals cool themselves by panting. This works well for short bursts, but not for endurance. Humans sweat. We release water through our skin, which evaporates and cools us. This allows us to maintain physical activity even in extreme heat." A new diagram appeared showing human sweat glands, millions of them covering the entire body. "Humans have between 2 and 4 million sweat glands," Daiho continued. "We can release up to 4 liters of sweat per hour. This cooling system allows us to function in temperatures that would kill most species through heat stroke." Chirrut raised a wing. "But surely this causes dangerous dehydration." "It does," Daiho agreed. "Humans must drink water constantly. In hot conditions, we need to drink several liters per day. But this is a trade-off. We sacrifice water dependence for temperature tolerance." The holographic display changed again. Now it showed a human climbing a mountain. The peak was covered in snow. The air was thin. Each breath created a cloud of vapor. "Humans also adapted to low oxygen environments," Daiho explained. "At high altitudes, there is less oxygen in the air. Most species would suffocate. But humans can adapt. Our bodies create more red blood cells to carry oxygen more efficiently. People who live in mountain regions have larger lung capacity and hearts that pump more efficiently." He pulled up statistics. There are human cities at altitudes above 4,000 meters. The air there has 40% less oxygen than at sea level. Children are born there, grow there, live their entire lives there. Vector's scales had slowly shifted back toward their normal red color, but now they paled again. "How is this possible?" "The atmospheric pressure alone is survivable," Daiho interrupted. "Uncomfortable but survivable. Humans can adapt to conditions between sea level and 5,000 meters fairly easily. We have climbed to over 8,000 meters without breathing equipment. It is difficult. It is dangerous, but it is possible." The display shifted to show a human diving deep underwater. The pressure numbers climbed as they went deeper. 10 meters, 20, 50, 100 humans also dived, Daiho said. Free diving without equipment, humans have reached depths of over 200 meters. The pressure at that depth is 21 times normal atmospheric pressure. It should crush human lungs. But we have learned to adapt. We exhale before diving, equalizing pressure. Our heart rate slows. Our blood vessels constrict to protect vital organs. Kliktar's mandibles clicked slowly. "You're describing extreme specialists." Individuals with rare abilities, yes? No, Deho said flatly. I am describing normal human capability. Yes, the deepest dives and the highest climbs require training, but basic human physiology allows all of this. Any healthy human can learn to function in extreme conditions. He brought up another image, a human child, perhaps 6 years old, swimming in the ocean. The water was clear and blue. Fish swam around the child, who dove down, grabbed a shell from the bottom and surfaced with a smile. Human children learn to swim before they can read, Deho explained. We teach them water survival because drowning is a common danger. By age 10, most human children can swim for an hour without stopping. Several delegates made sounds of disbelief. We also teach children about fire safety, storm safety, earthquake procedures, and how to identify dangerous animals, Deho continued. These are basic lessons like teaching mathematics or language. Because on Earth, survival skills are fundamental knowledge. The gray-furred delegate raised both paws. Surely you do not expose children to actual danger. Deho's expression did not change. We expose them to controlled danger. A child learns that fire burns by being allowed to touch something warm, not hot enough to injure, but uncomfortable. They learn to respect it. We teach them to swim by bringing them to water. We teach them about storms by letting them experience rain and wind. He paused, then added, a child who has never experienced any danger cannot recognize it. They cannot respond appropriately. On Earth, a child who does not understand danger is a child who will not survive to adulthood. The chamber was so quiet that the hum of the holographic projectors seemed loud. But physical adaptation is only part of survival, Deho said. He touched his controls again. The display showed a ruined city. Buildings had collapsed. Roads were cracked and broken. But among the ruins, people were working, clearing rubble, building temporary shelters, organizing supplies. This city was destroyed by an earthquake, Deho explained. Over 10,000 people died. But within days, survivors had organized. Within weeks, they had temporary infrastructure. Within months, they began rebuilding. Within years, the city was functioning again. He showed more images, cities hit by hurricanes, towns buried by volcanic eruptions, villages swept away by floods. And in every case, the same pattern: destruction, then recovery, loss, then rebuilding. This is human psychological resilience, Deho said quietly. We do not just survive physical danger. We survive loss, trauma, disaster, and then we rebuild. A new image appeared. A woman with a prosthetic leg, running. Not jogging, but truly running, competing in a race. This woman lost her leg in an accident, Deho said. She built a new one. Humans who lose limbs create replacements. Humans who lose sight learn to navigate by sound and touch. Humans who lose hearing learn to communicate with gestures and written language. He looked around the chamber. We adapt to injury the same way we adapt to environment. We find solutions. We refuse to let limitations define us. The display changed to show human achievements. Cities built on earthquake fault lines, homes constructed on volcanic slopes, communities thriving in flood zones, permanent research stations in Arctic wastes and scorching deserts. You asked how humans survive on a death world, Deho said. The answer is simple. We do not avoid danger. We learn to live with it. We study it. We prepare for it. And when it comes, we face it. He held up his scarred hands again. These scars do not make me weak. They make me experienced. Each one taught me something. Pain is a teacher. Danger is a teacher. Earth itself is a teacher, and humanity has spent millions of years in its classroom. Minji stepped forward to stand beside him. Delegate Vector, she said, addressing the reptilian directly. Earlier you questioned whether survival demonstrates the sophistication required for advanced trade status. You argued that endurance is not the same as advancement. Vector said nothing, but his yellow eyes were locked on her. You were right. Minji continued. Survival alone is not enough. But survival shapes everything we create. Our medicine is advanced because we fight diseases that would wipe out most civilizations. Our engineering is robust because it must withstand earthquakes, hurricanes, and floods. Our psychology is sophisticated because we must process trauma and loss and fear. She gestured to the holographic Earth, still rotating slowly. We are not asking for advanced trade status because we survived a death world. We are asking because surviving a death world made us into something unique, something valuable. Junho stepped forward. Then Hiram. All 4 humans stood together on the platform. We have shown you Earth's dangers, Minji said. Now we would like to show you what we have built despite them, what we have created because of them, and what we can offer to the galactic community. She looked at the council speaker. If the council permits, we will present our final argument. The chamber remained silent for a long moment. Then the council speaker's voice returned. The council permits, proceed. Minji nodded. Thank you. She took a breath and began the final presentation. Minji stood at the center of the platform with her 3 colleagues beside her. The holographic display showed Earth, beautiful and terrible, slowly rotating in the red glow of its Deathworld classification. She looked out at the thousands of alien faces watching her. Some looked frightened. Some looked amazed. Some looked skeptical. All of them were paying attention. Honored delegates, she began, her voice calm and clear. We have spent this session showing you how dangerous Earth is. We have shown you our violent atmosphere, our deadly wildlife, our microscopic threats, and our extreme environments. We have explained how humans adapted to survive all of this. She paused, letting her words settle. But there is something we have not explained, something that perhaps you do not understand. Hiram stepped forward. We do not consider Earth dangerous. The statement hung in the air like a challenge. To us, Hiram continued, Earth is simply home. The conditions we described are not unusual or extreme. They are normal. They are what we know. The holographic display changed. It showed human children playing. They were outside on a beach. Waves crashed in the background. Dark clouds gathered on the horizon. Lightning flashed in the distance. Human children play during storms, Hiram said. We teach them to recognize when lightning is close enough to be dangerous. Until then, they splash in the rain and laugh at the thunder. More images appeared. Children climbing trees in forests where predators lived. Children swimming in oceans where sharks hunted. Children building snow forts in Arctic cold. We do not keep our children locked away from danger, Hiram explained. We teach them to understand it, to respect it, to function within it. Junho stepped forward next. Human adults regularly engage in activities that would be considered extreme by galactic standards. We climb mountains for recreation. We dive to explore coral reefs. We surf on ocean waves during storms because we find it enjoyable. The display showed humans doing exactly these things. Climbing sheer rock faces with only ropes and determination. Surfing on waves 3 times their height. Skiing down steep mountain slopes through forests. These are not military training exercises, Junho said. These are hobbies, entertainment, things we do for fun during our free time. Vectar stood slowly. His voice was quiet, lacking its earlier mockery. You risk death for entertainment? We calculate risk, Junho corrected. We prepare, we train, we use equipment. But yes, humans voluntarily place themselves in dangerous situations because we find the challenge rewarding. Daiho spoke next, his rough voice carrying through the silent chamber. Earth taught us that safety is an illusion. Nowhere is truly safe. Danger exists everywhere, so we do not seek safety. We seek competence. We learn skills that let us survive anywhere, face anything. The holographic display shifted to show human technology. Not weapons, but tools, suits that allowed humans to survive in space. Equipment that let them explore the deepest oceans, vehicles that could traverse any terrain. We have developed technology born from necessity, Daiho explained. Our medical science is advanced because we fight so many diseases. Our materials engineering is sophisticated because we must build structures that survive earthquakes and hurricanes. Our environmental science is detailed because we must understand and predict our planet's volatile behavior. Minji took control of the display. It showed human agriculture, fields of crops growing in seemingly impossible places, terraced farms on steep mountainsides, greenhouses in Arctic regions, floating farms on floodplains. We grow food in conditions that would be considered unsuitable for agriculture on most worlds, she said. We have learned to make the impossible possible because we had no choice. The display changed to show human medicine. Vaccines, antibiotics, antivenoms, and countless other treatments. We have developed cures for thousands of diseases, Minji continued. We have learned to neutralize venoms from hundreds of creatures. We have created treatments for radiation exposure, chemical burns, extreme temperature damage, and pressure injuries. She looked directly at the council. These medical advances exist because we needed them. But they are not just valuable to humans. They can help any species. A civilization that never faced Earth's diseases might one day encounter something similar. We have the experience and knowledge to help. Hiram spoke again. We also have extensive experience with environmental disasters, earthquake engineering, flood management, fire suppression, storm prediction, volcanic monitoring. These are all fields where human expertise is extensive. More images appeared. Human emergency response teams, sophisticated early warning systems, infrastructure designed to flex and bend rather than break during earthquakes. Any colony might face natural disasters, Hiram said, especially new colonies on worlds that are not fully understood. Humans have spent thousands of years learning to predict, prepare for, and respond to natural disasters. This knowledge is valuable. Junho stepped forward again. We also understand survival psychology, how to help people cope with trauma, how to rebuild after loss, how to maintain hope in desperate situations. These are skills that any civilization might need, but humans have developed them to an advanced degree. The display showed human communities recovering from disasters, support systems, counseling programs, rebuilding efforts that focus not just on physical infrastructure, but on emotional recovery. We do not just survive, Junho said quietly. We help each other survive. Human communities are resilient because we have learned that cooperation is essential. We have learned to support those who are struggling, to share resources during shortage, to maintain social bonds even under stress. Deho spoke again. Humans also have extensive experience with dangerous environments. We can advise on colony placement, safety protocols, and emergency procedures for worlds that other species might find challenging. The display showed human colonies on Earth, research stations in Antarctica, communities in desert regions, cities built to withstand regular typhoons, towns that existed on volcanic islands with evacuation plans ready and emergency supplies prepared. We know how to live with danger, Deho said, and we can teach others. Minji took center stage again. We are not presenting ourselves as superior. We are not claiming to be braver or stronger than any other species. What we are saying is that Earth gave us unique experience that has value. She looked around the chamber, making eye contact with delegates from all sections. You classify Earth as a Class 12 Deathworld. You are correct. By any objective measure, our planet is extremely dangerous, but it is also our home, and living there has made us into who we are. The holographic display changed one final time. It showed Earth alongside other worlds, beautiful worlds with calm weather and peaceful environments, worlds that looked like paradise compared to the violent planet rotating beside them. We do not ask you to live on Earth, Minji said. We do not expect other species to survive our conditions. What we offer is this: partnership with a species that has survived the impossible, knowledge gained through millions of years of adaptation, technology developed out of necessity, experience that cannot be gained anywhere else. She paused, then added, we also offer perspective. When your colony faces a storm, we can help because we have faced worse. When your people encounter a new disease, we can advise because we have fought countless diseases. When disaster strikes, we can assist because disaster is something we understand deeply. Hiram stepped forward, and perhaps most importantly, we offer hope. Because if humans can thrive on a Class 12 death world, then any species can overcome any challenge. We are proof that life finds a way, that intelligence adapts, that civilization persists. Junho added, we are not asking for charity. We are not seeking protection. We are offering a fair trade, our unique experience and knowledge in exchange for access to galactic technology and markets. Deho finished. We survived Earth. Now we want to help others survive whatever challenges they face. Minji looked up at where the council speaker's voice originated. That is our petition. We request advanced trade status not despite being from a death world, but because of it. Earth made us into survivors, innovators, and problem solvers. These qualities have value in any civilization. The chamber fell silent. The four humans stood together on the platform waiting. Finally, the council speaker's voice returned. The council will now deliberate. The human delegation will wait outside. Minji bowed. Thank you for your time and consideration. The four humans walked together toward the exit. As they passed through the rows of delegates, Minji noticed something. The aliens were not looking at them with mockery anymore. Some looked thoughtful. Some looked worried. Some looked impressed. Vector stood as they passed. His scales had returned to their normal red color. Ambassador Minji, he said quietly, may I ask one question before you leave? Minji stopped. Of course, Delegate Vector. Your people have spacecraft now. You have the technology to leave Earth, to settle on safer worlds. His yellow eyes studied her carefully. Why do most humans choose to stay? Minji smiled slightly. Because it is home. Because it is beautiful. Because for all its danger, Earth made us who we are. We do not fear our planet. We love it. Vector was silent for a long moment. Then he gave a small nod. Thank you. The humans left the chamber. The doors closed behind them.